want me to repeat the steps again?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Sure. So we have imported a file from File, Import Data, and Excel. And we have got the wide form of the file. But SPS cannot perform functions in the wide form. So we need to restructure the data. For restructuring, I'll go to Data. I'll go to Restructure. So what do I want to do? I want to restructure the selected variables into cases. So how many number of variables do I have? I have 4 number of variables. Now, first of all, I'll have to define what are my fixed variables. So my state and state code are the fixed variables. So I'll move it here. So we have data for 4 states over a time series. Now transform one. So I'll rename it as percent metric, and I'll move all the data of metric to my first case. I'll transform my second data as well, which is percentage of graduate. This is the data of all the graduates. Next variable which I have is percent PG. So all the PG variables. My next variable is percent steal, which is the theft or the robbery rate. So now all my 4 of the variables are okay. So you do not have to give any space. Otherwise, the SPSS would not take the name of your variables. So how many index variables? I want only one. Sequential or variables name, I'll take the sequential numbers. I'll drop the variables from new data file, restructure the data now, and finish. So this is the long form of the data that has been converted from the wide form. But one of my variable is not behaving normally. If I see to percentage PG, it has got so many values after the decimal. So to check the data, what I'll do is go to the variable view and check on the decimals. So here I have got 15 decimals which are not required. So I'll convert it to 2. And check my data view. Now my variables that are showing are only 2. Also, when I have to see if the variable is a nominal or a scale variable, SPSS automatically chooses that as per the nature of my variable. But if sometimes you think that this variable should not be a nominal variable, this should be a scale variable, you can always change it. Now first, let's perform the pooled regression where I do not consider any time effect. So I'll go to Analyze, Regression, Linear. So my dependent variable over here is percentage steal. My independent variables are metric, graduate, and postgraduate. The statistics which I need: estimates, model fit, Durbin-Watson, continue. No options that I need to change, continue, and okay. So this is my simple regression or simple pooled regression without any time effect. So I have got my value of R to be 74%, R square 55%, adjusted R square 52%. That means my model explains 52% of the variations. This is the ANOVA, the coefficients, residuals. This I'll explain you in my presentation once again. But now let's move on to the second analysis. That is when I am considering the time effect with the help of least square dummy variable. So for this, I would require to transform my data. Remember when I taught about the dummy variables and the coding system? So here I'll have to recode into different variables. Now, state code is what I would like to recode. So I have got 4 states: Delhi, Chandigarh, Shimla and Gujarat. So I'll write here Chandigarh, change, and old and new values. So my old value of Chandigarh is 2, which I would like to associate with 1 and add. Then all the other values would be changed to 0. Add, continue, change, and OK. So one more category is created where 0 implies absence of Chandigarh and 1 implies presence of Chandigarh. Similarly, I'll have to transform my other variables as well. So now my state code Chandigarh changes to Shimla. Again going to old and new values. Now I can change this value. My Shimla is coded as 3 and value associated with it I want 1. So I'll change it and I'll continue it. And I'll press change again. Okay. I've got dummies for Shimla as well. Again, I'll transform. Now state code from Shimla would be Gujarat. My Gujarat is coded as 4. So I'll change the value 4 and value associated it with 1. And I'll change the variable and continue. Also, if rather than changing, I would have pressed suppose add. So this would create a problem. So make sure that you change the value or add the value and remove the value. So I'll press continue, change. Okay. Now I have got my dummies created. So if you see in the SPSS, there is a very sequential way of doing. If I need to do anything with the data, I have got first option. If I need to transform, then I have got second option. And now I need to analyze. Now I'll analyze regression, linear. Now my dependent variable would remain same. My independent variables, now rather than having 3 variables, I'll have 6 variables. That is individual specific variables and the independent variables earlier considered. So for statistics, I want estimates, model fit, and Durbin-Watson. For options, I do not need any options to be changed, and I click OK. Now, interestingly, I have got my results, which shows the R-square value as 81% and 78%. So earlier we were getting 52%. Now this model explains 78% of the variations. So this is how our results change. We have got ANOVA, coefficients, and residuals as well. Now, I had only limited number of variables, like only 3. So when I have more, like I have to create only 3 variables, Delhi I have considered as reference variable. When I have got more number of variables, for example, 15, 20 or 25, then it's very tedious for me to transform each and every variable, creating dummies. And if I miss a variable, the error of omission may, or if I create extra variable, like I create Chandigarh 2 times, then there would be additional variables which I do not require. That would also create a problem. So to deal with this, what we can do is analyze with the help of univariate analysis. Now, how do I do that? I go to analyze. I go to GLM, general linear model, univariate. Now over here, I'll have to see what is my dependent variable, percentage steel. What are my fixed factors? State and state code. What do I need to covariate are these 3 variables. So remember, when we study the covariate matrix, it goes like 1 0 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 1. So the dummy variables that are to be performed manually is something that is done in the background itself by the SPSS. Next, I'll look into the options. If I need to include descriptive statistics, I'll include that. I'll include the estimate of the effect size. I'll include the parameter estimates. And after that, I'll continue. If you want to include any other tests as per your data, the BP test or the BPGF test or White's test, you can always include that. Continue and OK. So now I have got my univariate analysis. Descriptive statistics I have got test between effects, I have got the partial eta square, which I'll be explaining you, and I have got the parameters estimates as well. So these are the results that I have got. I can save that results if I want to in the SPSS itself. So this is the fixed effect model and how it is done through SPSS. Coming on to the random effect model, which is very difficult to perform or is not convenient to perform in SPSS, we perform it in command-based softwares. So first of all, we got the model summary of our panel regression model. The R square, adjusted R square, these all tells how much does my model is explained. So when I do the pooled regression model where time effect is not considered, my 52% of the model is explained, and Durbin-Watson comes out to be 0.632, which lies between -4 and 4. So this is acceptable. When I go to my coefficients, so I have got 2 coefficients, the unstandardized and the standardized coefficients. So when I talk about the unstandardized coefficients, these are coefficients which have not been adjusted as per the normal distribution, that is z x bar minus mu over standard deviation. But when they are adjusted, then they turn to be standardized coefficients. I'll be checking the level of significance. So this is highly significant. I'll include the coefficient value in my equation. The equation which I told you earlier. This is my Yij. This is my beta naught. This is my beta I Xij. So I'll take this value minus 5.938 because this is also significant. And this is my equation that I have got. Now coming on to T, if I need to check the significance level from the T, then I'll always have to refer back to my T tables. if I come to the coefficient correlation, so the variables from this diagonal matrix, the below of the variables and the above of the variables are same. So this effect, the correlation studied with the percentage PT to percent PG comes out to be 1 because it does not have an effect. But this is the time invariant. But when I consider the time factor as well, that is in the covariance, then of course my percent PG would also have an effect on percent PG and it would give me a value. So this is what we can find out from correlation and coefficient. Coming on to our fixed effect model. So a fixed effect model with least square dummy variables gives us 78% explanation. Remember in the last we have got only 52% explanation. So my explanation is increased. My model fit is more strong. My results would be more relevant to predict anything. My model is more predictable as compared to my earlier model. DW falls between 1.2 between -4 and 4. So ANOVA, what does ANOVA tell us? Okay, so here one column is missing where it would come out to be the significance level 0.000. So ANOVA tells us that this model is good to be taken. Also, we have got ANOVA in the regression as well in our results, which means that, okay, we can perform our analysis in this model. Coming on to the next slide. I'll see the unstandardized and the standardized coefficient. I'll check the significance level. So steel for Delhi is what I'll take the constant value 725.923 minus my PM, which is 5.321. 5.321. So I won't consider these three variables while calculating my equation for Delhi. I'll just consider the constant, percentage metric, percentage graduate, and percentage PG. And this would be my percentage PG because this is also coming significant in this model. For Chandigarh and Shimla, my equation would remain same. So it would come out to be my beta coefficient plus 0, that is which is not considered, minus 5.321 PM. So yes, Sunita.
Ma'am, if possible, if you can please in the PPT, please mention the steps how you are creating the dummy variable. Ma'am, that would be better to remember later on. The steps how you included the dummy variable, just steps, ma'am.
Sure, I'll share a Word document with you for the same.
Okay, ma'am.
I'll
Okay,
capture
ma'am.
all the screenshots and step by step LSTV model and the univariate model would be there. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Please wait for a while. Let the session out. Okay. After that, after the session over, we'll send you in the group. Bindal ma'am, please continue.
Okay. So my equation for Chandigarh and Shimla remains same. My percentage metric would be included. My percentage graduate would be included. For Gujarat, if I see, my coefficient 725.923 is included. And because Gujarat is also coming significant, so I'll also include this minus 43.81, minus 5.321 as percentage metric, and minus 5.141 as percentage graduate. Now coefficient correlations which we got. So here in this in the correlation and the covariance, though SPSS calculate for the nominal variables as well, the Gujarat, Shimla and Chandigarh, we are not supposed to consider those results. We'll only take percentage PG, percentage metric, percentage graduate for the correlation and the covariance analysis. Again, our diagonal would be same. The same percentage PG would not have any effect on percentage PG. It would be constant. For my covariance, there would be percentage PG affecting percentage PG, but here it's 18.442. When I have done this without my time effect, then the variable was much higher. It was 31.623. Considering the time effect, the value of the variable decreases significantly. For descriptive statistics, we have got minimum value, maximum value, mean, standard deviation, and n is 40. Residuals, which are the error terms, standard predicted values, and the standard residuals. You know the difference between the unstandardized and the standardized. This is with the normally adjusted dz x minus x bar over standard deviation, and this is without the adjustments. Now the univariate analysis. So when I have done the GLM univariate analysis, the corrected model value of partial eta square comes out to be 0.819, which is same as the R square value. So what is partial eta square? It tells me
Ma'am, please mute the other mics.
yeah. So the individual effect of that variable or that intercept term is captured in the partial eta square. So how much does the intercept term affects my model is 0.46, that is 46%. Percentage metric is affecting 0.19, that is 19%. Percentage graduate 11%. And this can also be, we can also get this by the significance level. What is highly significant, what is weakly significant, and what is not significant. So these are the results that we get. Coming on to my next slide. So here I have got my model and I have got my terms. The intercept term here comes out to be 682.111. And these are the three terms that comes out to be significant. However, my intercept term in my earlier model, if I say LSTV, that was coming out to be 725.923, the constant term. Now it is coming out to be 682.111. So have I done any mistake in my computation? Or is it that the LSTV is more accurate or the univariate analysis is more accurate? Why is this coming out? Anybody? Okay, so what happens when I told you that in my LSTV analysis, I took Delhi as a reference variable. So my intercept term was according to Delhi. But in this model, I have got my intercept term as state code 4 is being taken as dummy variable. So my intercept term is 682.111. So if I calculate the steal rate of Gujarat, then 682.111 is my intercept term. And if I calculate the same thing in my fixed effect LSTV model, so 725.923 minus 43.81 comes out to be this only, 682.111. So my other coefficients are coming out to be same. The significance level is also same. So this is the beauty of SPSS, that given different analysis also, it is able to do the background calculations effectively and no mistake would ever occur if you have chosen the right clicks. So whenever the reference variable and your dummy variables are created correctly, then this analysis would come out to be like this. So any questions? Ma'am, if the intercept term is insignificant, then should we include it in the model? No, if your intercept term is not significant, then there is no point in including that intercept term in the model. That means that you have got a direct relationship between the independent variable and the dependent variable. So when I talk about my intercept term, so it's like when I plot my axis, y is equals to a plus bx. So this is my intercept term. But when my model is starting from the origin itself, so my equation would be y is equals to bx. That means that there is absence of intercepts term. So I won't include it in my model. So Somik, is that clear? Okay. Any more questions or anything that needs clarification?
Ma'am, please explain the concept of partial eta squared that you explained right now.
Okay, sure. So when I talk about partial eta square, it captures the individual effect on the model. That means that if I have corrected model with degrees of freedom 6, my partial eta square comes out to be 0.819, which is like 81% of my model is explained. Now, if I need to know that what is explaining what part of my model, that means that how much is individually, the individual variable is able to explain that model, then it comes out to be that 46% is explained by the intercept term only. The percentage graduate which affect my independent variable or which explains the model is 19%. So my 19% effect, that is when I explained to you earlier about what is the coefficient. So this coefficient explains that when I change my value of x, what would be its impact on y. Now when I study the whole model, then this is explained by the r square. But when I have to study the individual effect, when I have to only study the x individually, then this would be explained by my partial eta square. That means that my alpha term is having 46% of my impact on my model, 19% is of my percentage metric, that is the percent of people who have passed their 10th, 19% of them are affecting the steal rate, the robbery rate or the theft rate. 11% is what the graduate people are affecting it. And this is not coming out to be significant, so we won't include the percentage of postgraduate. When I talk about the state code, that is the different dummies that I created, the state codes are 59% are having an impact. So when I study my model, I automatically get to know that normally the reference category has an intercept of 725. That 725 is already this amount of robbery is taking place. And there is no difference in the robbery rates of Chandigarh and Shimla. But when I talk about Gujarat, the level has increased. That means that if this is where my Delhi starts from, then Gujarat robbery rate is starting from a little low. This is my intercept term. The individual effect, however, is captured by my partial eta square. Is that clear?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any more questions? And what is the difference between R square, adjusted R square during analysis? Which one should we consider? So any variations that may occur are adjusted by the adjusted R square. So normally for more of an appropriate analysis, we consider the adjusted R square and we do not tend to consider the R square value. Is that clear? Do I need to elaborate more? Okay. Any more questions regarding the theoretical aspect, the practical aspect, or the SPSS, any command which was not clear? Yes, the adjusted R square takes care of the degree of freedom. So we can compare the value of this when we have to compare different models, that suppose which model is better. I'm not having a single model in my analysis. I'm having 2 or 3 models. So when I need to compare those models, then I'll consider the value of the adjusted R square. But when I do not require so much the comparison, then I'll take that model as the R square value is pretty much sure to explain the model. But what is more preferred is to take the value of adjusted R square. Okay, so with this, I'll end my session today. We can discuss the mixed effect model or the random effect model some other day, of course. Okay.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for your
Thank
presentation.
you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am,